It's just a bicycle. No big deal. That's what some would say. But for some, it's a lot more. It's transportation to and from work. It's a trip to the grocery store to feed your family, to the drugstore for medications for seniors or folks with necessary health needs. Or it may just be a family outing with the kids and friends on a beautiful Sunday day. For many, that's all they have to enjoy mobility and a quality of life here in Midtown and downtown Sacramento. Unfortunately, criminals are organized. Wake up, Sacramento. You can help. Call us 916-448-2619. You can also email us at webmaster@crimeinsacramento.com. We're here to help. Our police officers need that help. And as you watch this video, you're going to see a crime in progress that even if we've been up and been able to call it in, there's a pretty good chance that officers might not have been available to respond for this crime in progress. It was hardly considered a priority 2 or priority 3 call. Do you remember the article and the feature in the Sacramento Bee not long ago, how our police department, as much as they want to, are no longer able to handle most property crimes that occur in our city? Well, that's with good reason. We hear our mayor and our city manager and our city council folks tell us that public safety is their number one priority. Yes, we usually hear that at election time. But at mid-year budget or the annual budget for the police department? No. Why don't we have officers able to respond to property crimes in our city? Very simple. Over the last 3 years, our mayor, our city manager, and our city council have elected to cut over 200 positions from the Sacramento Police Department. In 2012, 167 positions went away. What did that include? Well, that included the community service officers. Those folks that come out and take the burglary report or the theft report or your stolen bicycle or the plants on your yard. That's what community service officers did. Now, you would expect that crime would have been down because they weren't there anymore to take those reports. But no, crime has soared, particularly in District 3. If you look at the stats on the police department's website, officers want to help, but they can only handle so many calls. And they have to handle life-threatening and high-priority calls like robberies, drive-by shootings, homicides, felony DUIs. Oftentimes, that takes them out of our neighborhoods for hours at a time. So public safety is the number one priority in our city? Not at budget time, not when they cut over 200 positions from the police department in the last 2 years. What you're witnessing here is a crime in progress. But what kind of crime is it? Well, with the structure of the law, even though this is a secured building, front and back, locked gates, because it's not enclosed, in other words, you can see the sky from the courtyard, it's not considered a felony burglary. Even though it's very clear that these two individuals are intent upon entering our private property in a secured building to steal, maybe we could make a conspiracy case, which would be a felony, but thanks to trial lawyers in our legislature, they've deemed that unless they break in to an enclosed structure, it's not felony burglary. It's a petty theft. No big deal, you'd say. Well, as you watch this individual, it's pretty clear that he had more than just stealing bicycles in mind. Now let's share some harsh realities. This individual is not alone. His crime partner is at the front of the building by our front security gate, keeping a lookout for any activity on the street, while his partner has gone around through the alley and come to our back gate. There he'll scale the gate, as you've seen. He'll go into our laundry room, where we have coin-operated washers and dryers. He'll assess whether or not those are easy enough to break in and steal the cash from inside. When that doesn't play out well for him, he goes wandering through the property, looking at the other bikes and checking the locks to see how sturdy they are. But then he finds low-hanging fruit and decides this is where he's going to work next. Remember when I talked about how organized these criminals are as they prowl our dark streets in Midtown looking for opportunities to take whatever they feel they want to have? There's an underground economy going on in Sacramento, and much of it centers around stealing bicycles. Now, these guys are hardly amateurs. As you watch this video, you're going to see that. Not only is he examining the locks, he's also checking around to see if anybody's up and moving. You know, after all, many of us at 5:30 in the morning are getting ready to go to work and pursue our daily lives. You know, that four-letter word, W-O-R-K. So he wanders up. He's looking for security cameras. We're very surprised he didn't see ours. We think that this is an individual who has been on our property before and was able to engage security cameras that we had monitoring the inside of our building. Unfortunately, at that time, those cameras recorded but didn't sound any kind of alert. And having just replaced those cameras, we haven't set everything up yet to fully engage the alert functions and notifications that these cameras can provide. They also provide two-way audio, and we don't use that because of the privacy concerns for our tenants. However, we are looking at the opportunity to let our tenants know that between certain hours where these crimes occur, audio recordings will be taken so that we can catch any conversation between two conspirators who are here to deprive our tenants of their property. That's something that we hope to have engaged here very shortly. So our guy has wandered around, he's checking the area, and as you can see, he'll come back and he'll work on these bicycle locks. Now, you may have noticed when he first entered the property, he didn't have a backpack. He didn't have anything in his hands. He had to scale that 30-foot enclosed area, that wall at the back of our building, so he had both hands free. But you're going to see that he's going to team up with his crime partner in a little bit, and he's going to get the tools of his trade. And he's going to come back, and he's going to work on those locks, eventually taking one bicycle at a time out the front gate to his waiting crime partner, and then the last one he'll leave himself. And you'll notice in the video that when he comes back in from the first trip out, he now has a white backpack of some kind. Not only does it probably contain burglar tools, but it very well could contain property stolen somewhere else in the neighborhood over the night. So we're going to pause at this point, talk about this particular incident. It may not be a big deal to some people, but it certainly is to this young family who just moved into our property. He works a graveyard shift at a convenience store down the street. He's new to Sacramento. They came from New York City, and is just now beginning to learn that not only do we have a crime problem, and we have dedicated police officers who want to solve those problems, but that we just don't have enough of them. And that is the crux of why I'm presenting this video to you, an event that has probably happened thousands of times here in our city to victims. We need to do something about it. Crime Watch has been a leader in advanced police technology for over 40 years. It operated under a different name because in those days it was a business. And we taught police officers how to use that technology all over the country. Now we're going back to old friends and allies in the technology arena. We have solutions. We have a pretty good idea that the city of Sacramento won't pay for it. The police department doesn't have it in their budget to deploy. But with a community partnership and that expertise, and folks outside our city who care about what's happening in Sacramento because they don't want to see it happen in their own neighborhoods, are teaming up together to try to help where we can. And of course, it takes the cooperation of those management team members and our police chief to make that happen. But as we've seen since Chief Summers was sworn into office, he has made a commitment to engage our community and proactively work on solving neighborhood problems and making Sacramento the safest city in California. That's a laudable effort. Whether he can achieve that without the support of the mayor and the city council and the city manager in finding sources of revenue, we don't know. But we know that a engaged community, an involved community, can make all the difference in the world. And as I said before, we're just neighbors like you, but we have some technical expertise that we're willing to share and, if necessary, fund ourselves. It's not a huge expense. We have applications that any citizen who wants to take care of business in their community can use, and it costs you nothing but time. And we know that's a big problem in our city. We have families that are working 2 jobs just to try to make ends meet. We have folks that are running businesses and dealing with the losses. I talk to a lot of retailers, and they tell us one of their number one problems is shrinkage due to theft, whether it be shoplifting or commercial burglaries. And they too are frustrated that our police, who want to help and often can and do, for the most part, find themselves handcuffed when we'd rather see criminals handcuffed. So as you watch this theft finish up and conclude, all I can suggest is it takes teamwork. It takes a community. It takes the police department. It takes the district attorney to ensure that punishment fits the crime, that victims receive restitution, and that the line, well, that's what you have insurance for, is not the answer to all of our crime problems in our city. Most certainly, in my mind, in my 19 years of dealing with our Sacramento Police Department, we have the best officers in California, albeit too few, too many of them are underpaid for the work they do. What's even worse, we're not getting the straight story from Sacramento city government on the many concessions that our police officers and their association have made since 2009, when the city came to them and said, oh my goodness, we have budget woes. You need to help us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Sacramento Police Officers Association did. They made concessions. They gave up raises. And the city made them a promise. Now, I'm not a budget analyst. I'm not a labor union expert. And I don't really understand how these agreements all shape out. The fact is, our police officers, knowing that they are some of the most underpaid police officers in Northern California, went above and beyond the call by making concessions to help with the budget woes. And a year or 2 later, they were asked to do it again. They had foregone pay raises based on promises. Those promises were broken. Now, I know this may not seem to have anything to do with the burglary. It has to do with quality of life. It has to do with the abandonment of community-oriented policing and the broken windows theory that says if you repair a window after it's broken, it's less likely to attract more criminals thinking that a neighborhood is easy pickings. Let's find a better way to work with our officers, engage each other. Let's use the Nextdoor application that you've been hearing about. Let's work together. Let's network. Let's put these people out of business. At the end of this video will be some information. We encourage you to volunteer. We encourage you to go out with us and see how we function in the street in support of our police officers. We simply observe in a very organized way. We use state-of-the-art technology to record incidents so that we can hand that over to the police, and we report back to the community on the successes and sometimes the failures of making this work as part of a community effort. Please, as we wrap this up, take a look at the resources we have to offer. Give us a call. We're here to help, but we do that help at the direction of one of the finest law enforcement agencies in the country, a dedicated police chief, his management team, our watch commanders, our patrol sergeants who are the backbone of the police department, and those officers out there running call to call and call, trying to do the job that they want to do and that our citizens deserve. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and please take advantage of the resources we have to offer. We truly want to live up to the chief's expectations to make Sacramento the safest city in California, if not the nation. Be safe, God bless you and yours, and we hope to hear from you.
One Adam 12, 1 Adam 12, possible 459 suspects there now. 1 Adam 12, 1 Adam 12, a 415 man with a gun. 1 Adam 12, no want. Lincoln X-ray IDA 483. 1 Adam 12, a 415 fight group with chains and knives.